So much for joining me today on day 140 of the income stream. Unreal. Thanks so much for being here. If you are watching the replay, hashtag team replay in the comments. If you are here live, say hello to your fellow friends, say hello to me. Today we're talking about advanced email marketing strategies. And yes, even if you're watching the replay, I promise this will be very helpful for you. I'm actually going to take you inside a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about later this afternoon. If you happen to catch my live webinar on email marketing and training, which we will be getting into at 11 a.m. Pacific. Both beginner and advanced tactics in that webinar, a little bit more in depth, but today here on the income stream, I definitely want to share some of this with you because I know some of you won't be able to attend that. And I'm going to share two different parts related to this. Number one, I'm going to share information about the way in which we collect and then segment our audience. I touched on this a little bit yesterday in terms of who goes where and then who receives what. And then toward the end, or perhaps halfway through, I'm going to transition into sharing a 5-day product launch email follow-up sequence. I'm going to share with you the individual emails, the purpose, and how we hopefully convince a person to, if they're segmented into that part of the list and they are receiving information or an offer about a product that makes sense for them to solve a problem that they have, I'm going to share with you those emails. How many emails do we send? What's in those emails? What about the last day? Do you send more than one email? If that sounds of interest to you, let me know in the chat. And before we get started, let's go to the intro. Welcome in. Hi, everybody.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Yes, if you're unable to catch the webinar live, we will be sending out, if you register, a replay only to the people who register. And in fact, if you want to register, you can actually go here, patflynn.com/webinar. Man, I'm actually going to share with you also another tool that I've been using to make it easy for me to get people to come to this webinar, which would be pretty cool. So it's called Bonjoro. I'm going to reveal more about that later. It is a very, very handy tool, and I love the team over there. And in fact, we have over 4,500 people registered for this webinar that's happening in about 3 hours, which is pretty insane. So I've had a lot of people ask for information about webinars and how we run them and how we get so many registrants and how we sort of deliver a webinar. And that will save for perhaps another week here on the income stream. But today we're talking about advanced email marketing. Oh, so by the way, if you do sign up for this, patflynn.com/webinar, and you do want to attend live, it's going to be full. We only have 1,000 spots. Make sure that you hop on early or you keep trying if it's locked. But again, a replay will be sent out, which will be pretty neat. Okay, so advanced email marketing strategies. We spent the whole week starting on Monday talking about lead magnets. On Tuesday, talking about, well, how do we get people to find these lead magnets? Yesterday, then talking about, okay, well, what do we send people after they subscribe? Today, two things, how we start segmenting our audience in different various ways we can do that. And number two, a 5-day email sequence that you can use. And I'll share with you, actually, I'm going to show you inside of my course where it's just more beautifully displayed for everybody and how we can do that for you. So a couple things. I see a number of things happening in the chat right now. Karma Cashflow in the house. What's up, Karma? I did reply to your Instagram this morning, so I got you. John Michael, welcome. Thank you so much for joining Team Flynn Platinum. I said Team Flynn Plutonium earlier. Just Samson subscribed as well, which is awesome. Thank you so much. You have access to some new stuff. Jamie, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member. Rich, welcome to Team Flynn Platinum. This is awesome. I see Franco in the house as well, who hasn't been here in a while. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much. All right. Shall we dive in? Let's dive in. I'm going to go, in fact, first to my slides here, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm not going to go full screen because then I lose the chat, but I will be... Actually, let me move this because it's right in the middle of my stuff here. I will be going to my screen and showing you the keynote. So, yo, members, you know what to do. It's story time. So, what you're seeing here, by the way, members, use the new emoji today, if indeed that is working, in fact. So, story time. This is a picture of me in front of a Romano's Macaroni Grill. A Romano's Macaroni Grill is a restaurant that, in fact, I used to work at. This was actually, I think, at the Chicago airport. And I asked some random stranger to take a picture of me because I was like, hey, can you take a picture of me in front of this macaroni grill? And they looked at me really weird, but that's okay. Anyway, this is the picture that was taken. You can see there's people with luggage there. This was indeed at the airport. Why did I have them take a picture? Because I hadn't seen a macaroni grill since I had worked there. I had worked there as a waiter for a while. And then, nice, I like the emojis, thank you. You can use the zoom function in Ecamm. Oh yeah, indeed I could. That's cool, thank you for letting me know. I used to work there as a waiter. And very quickly, as a college student trying to make as much money as possible, I tried to make my guests happy. I tried to do certain things that would help me earn more money and earn more tips. So one thing that they teach you at Romano's Macaroni Grill is this story about Romano and her family and all this stuff. And you're supposed to, when a new customer comes in, you tell them this story. It's supposed to be sort of a family style situation where you come in, you feel like you're in somebody else's home, you're treated like a guest, those sorts of things. So whenever a guest came in, we were supposed to do this 2-minute spiel about Romano and the restaurant and the history of it. But I quickly learned up front that if people had been in the restaurant before, that, well, they literally did not want to hear it. They're just like, yeah, I heard it, please move on. And that's not a great first impression. So I started to understand that different people who came in deserved different kinds of messages. Or other words, I learned this, IFTTT. Chad, if you're live with me here, have you ever heard of this? What does this mean? IFTTT. Well, it means if this, then that. If this, then that. And I basically realized that if there were certain kinds of people who came in, I could treat them in different kinds of ways. For example, my best tip or my best trick that helped me earn a lot of money was whenever a family came in. Whenever a family came in, I knew that, or eventually knew, that the goal of the family and really the parents was to just have a meal without a tantrum. Really, that was it. Just a meal without a tantrum. So when a family came in and they had 2 kids, for example, I knew that if I did not give each set of kids the same set of crayons, it would be over. Because at the restaurant, there would be a piece of paper laid out on the table that you could draw on. There was crayons there already. And if, for whatever reason, there weren't the same number of the same color of crayons, the kids would fight. So here's what I would do. We were supposed to only put 2 crayons on. In fact, the bussers would put 2 crayons on a brand new table. And I always told my busser to put red and blue because red and blue were the most popular colors that kids always wanted, right? And if a family seated there with more than 1 kid, I had in my pocket both red and blue crayons already available so that I could come around and I would actually go to the table and I'd say, hey, before I take your order, I'm going to go to the back really quick, but I did want to drop off this for you. And I would look at the parents and give them a little wink, and that way they would see that both kids had 2 sets of the same colors, and everybody would be happy. So that's how I knew that, and of course, those parents were very, very thankful. That's what earned me a lot of money. Then later, I upgraded and became a bartender and learned a lot of similar tricks too, depending on the kind of person and the kind of drink that they ordered, in fact, and whether or not they wanted to be talked to, whether or not they wanted to be left alone, all these sorts of things. And unfortunately, when I started building my email list back in 2010, I treated everyone the same. I built an email list to up to 130 people, 130,000 people, all the same. I treated them all the same. I sent them all the same messages. And when you think about this, well, not everybody deserves the same messages or needs the same messages or wants to see everything. So that was the big mistake I was making. And despite treating everybody the same, I tried really hard to offer some value. I tried really hard to stay connected to my audience. And this was what I was getting, about a 20% open rate and a 3.5% click-through rate. So for every 100 people that would receive my email, 20 would see it, and 3 to 4 people would then click on the links in there, which is, that's kind of average if you consider that. Later, when I found out about this strategy of segmentation and started using tools to support me with that, I now have over 200,000 emails and a 65% open rate. So now instead of 2 people out of every 10, now it's 6 to 7. Messages, yeah, they're much more honed in now. And at 8.5% click-through rate. And when you're talking about dollars and cents, these add up to more money. This is a bigger bottom line, right? So I've now divided my audience into different segments that now deserve different messages. This is, again, we're getting a little bit more advanced. So you don't have to start off this way. In fact, I wouldn't even recommend it. I'd recommend you just keep it simple to start. If you're building an email list, put them all into one bucket for now. You can divide them later. If you do have the capability and the knowledge and the know-how to start segmenting people sooner, however, I would obviously recommend that, because then you can feel a little bit more relatable and tie messages that are directly connected with an audience and what they want sooner, and that's always great. So this is a perfect quote that sums us all up. The idea of dividing a market up into homogeneous segments and targeting each with a distinct product or message is now at the heart of marketing theory. This is the future. And a lot of these tools that we now have access to are able to help us do that, right? So we don't want to treat all of our leads the same. Let me know in the chat if you understand that. Eventually, hopefully, sooner than later, we do not want to treat all of our leads, all of our emails, all the human beings on the other end of that email list that we have the same. We do not want to do that. So the question then begs, well, how do we determine what these different buckets are? And I have to give credit to where credit is due. There's a book called Ask. Look at that. Pre-beard Pat Flynn. Young Pat Flynn. Before I was a mountain man. Not a mountain man, by the way. What's the number one biggest challenge you have related to blank? This is the perfect question to ask when you are building an email list, because this will help you know the kinds of different replies that you get and the different types of people that are on your list. Now, you're going to get hundreds of different answers over time. We need to determine a bucket or 2 or 3 at max that we can divide these people into, and I'll show you exactly how I did this. This question comes from this book, Ask. It was revolutionary in our business in helping us better serve our audience. Babyface Pat Flynn. Not well lit Pat Flynn also. The background's better lit. Anyway, so step 1, this question alone will change everything for you. What's the number one biggest challenge you have related to blank, right? Okay, so I asked this question to my audience and I got hundreds of responses, but I saw that there were patterns in these responses. So here's what I asked. What's the number one biggest challenge you have related to online business? And I started to notice a certain group of people answer in this kind of way. I'm overwhelmed from all the information available to me. I don't know where to start. I'm afraid of wasting my time and money. I'm not sure what kind of business I'd like to create. The fear of failure is stopping me from moving forward. Well, I put these people into what I like to call, in our audience or internally, bucket number 1. These people have no business yet. They have not started. They have the itch to get started, or else they wouldn't have been there. And they read and listen to a lot of content. We asked some other questions related to this segment, and we found that they were very much consumers, less doers, right? So they consumed a lot of information, listened to a lot of podcasts, but they just never had the courage to get started. Not yet, at least. Next, here was a second set of people that we saw. I'm fearful, I'm just wasting my time, I'm trying to do too many things at the same time, I'm not seeing the results I want, I don't know what my next step should be. So they started, but they haven't yet gotten really any results. So these are people who, in our surveys, were at making less than $500 a month. They have what's called superhero syndrome. Let me know if that's you. This was me for years. Superhero syndrome is a term coined by my best friend Chris Ducker, who wrote the book Virtual Freedom, who basically says we as entrepreneurs try to do everything. And in the beginning, yes, you want to do that. But over time, even when you have the capability or the resources to hire out and get help, we don't, because we feel like we need to own every single part of our business. And that's not good. That's not healthy. That could lead to deterioration in productivity and even in mental health and relationships. And superhero syndrome is something that the audience can definitely suffer from. And then everybody else was put into bucket number 3. So we have these different buckets now. So now when we turn on the faucet, when we put our lead magnets out there, when we write content, we want to find out, okay, who within this audience is in bucket number 1, bucket number 2, and bucket number 3. So Francis, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. Everybody, you're awesome. Sorry, I'm just like really in the zone right now, and I'm trying to help you. So the question now is, okay, these buckets, I understand that. I understand that this question can lead us to determine what these different patterns or different groups of people are and where they're at. Well, how do we actually start segmenting them? Well, there's what I like to call self-segmentation. How to get your audience to divide itself. There's a few different ways to do this. Number 1, let's talk about your main list to bucket segmentation sequence. This is meaning you have now a group of people in one bucket that we now want to divide into the different buckets. This is if you have already started and you haven't done this yet, or even if you are starting and you have just sort of a general lead magnet or a general subscription area, and then from after they subscribe, you want to divide them up. This is how to go about doing that. You have your main list. You send this email, and you can send it multiple times until people start to divide themselves. But I shared this yesterday, and this kind of blew a lot of people away, so I'm excited to share it with you again here today in case you missed that or want a refresher. In this email that you send out, you basically have a person choose. So it looks like this. And this is the way I set it up. So I zoomed in on this yesterday, and I didn't read this out loud, but and feel free to screenshot this if you'd like. In fact, you don't have to do that because I can give it to you right here. smartpassiveincome.com/bucket copy. If you want to go and grab that now, you can totally do that. smartpassiveincome.com/bucket copy. Let me take a quick sip of coffee. The chat is on fire today. Woo. Okay, so here's how I position it. This is one of the first emails I send after a person joins my main list now. If I were to send all of my email subscribers the same exact email, I wouldn't be serving you in the best way possible, and the emails you would get would be hit or miss since everyone is at different stages in their business. You might be just starting out, or maybe you have been in business for a while. Maybe you have a podcast, maybe you don't. So here, I'm just, the positioning is, hey, every email I send may not be relevant for you, but it doesn't matter where you're at. I cast a wide net there, right? Maybe you're in business for a while, maybe you're not, maybe you have a podcast, maybe you don't. That's why I'm going to learn about you as we go, but you're going to have to help me out. Sometimes I may ask you to reply to an email, and you can choose to do that if you wish, but most importantly, I need you to click on links that matter to you in the emails I send. What am I doing here, chat? I'm conditioning my audience right from the start to, number one, open my emails. Number two, click on the links in my email, because I'm basically saying when you do that, that helps you too. And number three, I'm also sharing that I have a little bit more care in how a person is experiencing my email list. I want to make sure they get emails that are relevant to them. So I'm conditioning my audience up front right now. That's it. If something of interest to you or aligns with where you're at, click on that link. If not, don't. Over time, I'll be able to better understand what you like and dislike and serve up content that makes sense to you. Okay, it starts right here. Please answer the question below that best suits you, or the answer below that best suits you. Which one of the following best describes your online business activity? Click the one that best describes you. Yes, we are breaking the customers up into groups, right? So, number one, I don't have an online business. Number two, I have an online business, but I'm stuck. Number three, I have an online business that's generating more than $500 per month. So this directly ties into the different buckets, right? They click on one of these links. Let's say they click on number one. They now have two things happen. We talked about this yesterday. Number one, they go to essentially it's a thank you page, but it's a landing page. You have to send them somewhere. And on this page, I don't have it here. In fact, I might have it. Do I have it on Google? Let me see if I can find it really quick. Welcome, future entrepreneurs, Pat Flynn. It may not be. Oh yeah. I think it's here. Cool. So this is where they land. This is where they land when they click on that link. In the background, ConvertKit, which is the email service provider I use, tags them as bucket one. They are now bucket one. And a few other things happen under the hood. When they click on that link, they come here, and I'll share with you what this is in just a second. And again, this is advanced, so if you're scared about all this stuff, remember, this is what we can work toward. It doesn't have to be like this from the start. But number two, they get tagged as bucket number one, and they get removed from the general list. They get removed from just any further information or emails about, hey, I need you to tell me if you're in this bucket or this bucket or this bucket, because there are follow-up emails that come out because not everybody chooses right up front. But if they do, they get removed from any further messages in that sequence, and they get put into a future entrepreneurs sequence, right? Tim says, out of curiosity, why the delineation of $500? That's just what we found. It was a nice round number that people can easily determine whether or not they're, at that level or not. It's sort of the difference between, a starter and somebody who's stuck versus somebody who now has some results and is going, and sort of has a new set of problems now, essentially, because each one of these stages has a different set of problems, if that makes sense. But you click on that link in the email, they arrive here, and it basically welcomes them as based on where I know they're at. Welcome, future entrepreneur. Again, I'm future pacing them now. This picture of me does not show my face for some reason, but anyway, I was on a track running, and that was some Pat Flynn stock photography that we chose to use there. Anyway, let's get your business going. Can't begin to tell you how happy I am you're here. If you're reading this, you're ready. Ready for what? Well, people like you don't land on this page unless they're motivated and driven to do something great. So a lot of motivation here, and then I'm not going to read this whole thing. There's a video that's supposed to go here. It's not loading right now based on probably because I'm streaming right now. And now a few resources to just start out, right? Hey, read my book. Here are some things to help you. Ready to get started. Here are a few resources for you as a beginner that you can dive into right now, right? Some podcast episodes, some content, etc. So they click on this link in the email. They go to this landing page. I'm welcoming them, knowing them where they're at, or meeting them at their level, using language that they will reply to and respond to. Keep that in mind because we're going to go into that a little bit more. So now that I know that they're here, I can deliver some unique content to them. So the very first follow-up email that they get when they click on that link, remember, they go to that page, they're diving more into the world of, yes, Pat Flynn knows where I'm at and I can get help here. He knows where I'm at. That's really important. Then we can send them this email. Future entrepreneurs, read this. Future entrepreneurs, read this. That's the subject line. So again, connecting what they just clicked on to language that they will respond to. And then here's the email. Pat here, quick question. Do any of the following statements reflect where you're at right now with your desire to create an online passive income business? I'm overwhelmed from all the information available to me. The fear of failure is stopping me from moving forward. I don't know where to start. I'm not sure what kind of business I'd like to create. I don't feel like I have what it takes. All these things. Where did these things come from? Do you recognize these? I'm afraid of wasting my time and money. They came from here. Remember I showed you this earlier? These were the legit answers that people had when we asked them, what's the number one biggest challenge? I'm regurgitating. I don't like that word, but that's kind of what makes sense, right? I'm taking the language that they gave me and I'm giving it back to them in the same email sequence after I know where they're at. Why? Because this is, again, the language that they will respond to. This is how we get people to become confident in the fact that they just joined a list that is perfectly suited for them. And I'm just regurgitating that language right back to them, right? That's how I set it up. Hey, any of these statements, if these are true for you, let me know, right? And again, there's more information in that email, but this is really where they came from. The link was smartpassiveincome.com/bucket-copy. That's for you. Here are the replies that people actually send back after I send that email. This email that has all these, bullet points, right? I'm building a rapport. Exactly, Brian. Lourdes says, Pat, I feel like you're in my head. I'm thinking every one of those things constantly. Jacqueline says, wow, Pat, all of those statements and more definitely describe how I feel about the prospect of starting any kind of online business. SEN even said, I have never met someone who has so vividly described me when it comes to online business like you've just done. So what's the likelihood, chat, that these people are going to open the next email that I send them? What's the likelihood that they're going to click on links? And what's the likelihood that we are already building a lot of trust and authority together so that if I were to lead them somewhere, they'll be more likely to take action on that? See what I did there? So this is where we start getting a little bit more advanced, but this is communication done in the 21st century using these tools. The funny thing is, and I remember Gary Vee talking about this one time, he mentioned this thing called small town rules. Small town rules, meaning, remember back in the day, I mean, maybe you don't because some of us didn't live back then, but back in the day and I guess there are still small towns that behave in this manner, but there are small towns, right, where everybody knows everybody, right? You walk into Bob's Bakery and you go to Bob's Bakery because not just the bread's good, but you walk in and Bob welcomes you in as a friend. He asks, how are your kids doing? How was their soccer game last week? You ask about Bob and his wife and how the family is at home and the kids who just went off to college and now they're empty nesters because you want to make them feel good. And this level of communication, although more possible because we're all more connected now, is actually happening far less because we automate everything, because everything is a tool now. And we have to use these tools in a way where we can have people feel like we care about them, that they belong, that we're listening to them. So this is how we can use email marketing to bring that small town feel back so that even if, let's say you are Bob the Baker, a supermarket now opens up between you and most of your customers that sells bread for cheaper. Well, people are going to still come to you because you are Bob the Baker. I actually, in fact, experienced this myself. Back in 2009, I had just released, about a year prior to this, my own study guide to help people pass an architectural exam called the LEAD exam. And then the company, the organization that actually wrote the questions for the exam, the Green Building, or the United States Green Building Council, they came out with their own guide. I thought I was screwed. That was the supermarket that opened up. Well, guess what? My sales increased because people gravitated toward me, a person who was just like them, more relatable, who was just the owner of this blog who wanted to help people. So it works. Small town rules, baby. Small town rules. Where everybody knows your name. I hope this isn't in tune because then I'll get hit for copyright strike. That last part wasn't in tune, that's for sure. Okay, dope. How we doing? We're about halfway through. Perfectly planned so far. Thank you. Tamara, welcome to Team Flynn Gold.
Bruh.
You're awesome. I appreciate you. Chat, how we doing? Taking a little break. Want to finish my coffee before it gets too cold. And we are going to move on to the next segment of our presentation here. But just want to get a quick little feel here and a little breather, a little space, a little reset. And then I'm going to take you into my course, in fact. I'm going to take you into one area of my course, what I like to call the ABC Bank. The Autoresponder, Broadcast, and Campaign Bank. This is where, hey, if you're going to do some sort of campaign, you come here, you just take the emails from me, and you can use them yourself. So I'm actually going to take you into one of them and share with you a 5-day sequence. I see some bruh. Feeling the energy, great. Awesome. Fantastic. If I don't have these doubts, but my blog is new, am I broken? If you don't have these doubts, I would say that, and I don't know if this is what you mean, but if you're not a little bit nervous about what you're doing, you're not trying hard enough, in my opinion. That's just a way that I like to live, right? If you're not feeling a little bit nervous about something that you're doing, maybe you're not pushing yourself hard enough. And it's when you push yourself outside of that comfort zone and into a little bit of nervousness that you get to unlock a lot of new things that weren't possible before. All right, fantastic. Let me go over here. By the way, that tool that I was going to mention, Bonjoro, I wanted to pull up something that was really cool. So this is Bonjoro. Bonjoro is a really cool tool, and it actually connects really well to, this is some of the records of people who have purchased products recently and such. But what's really cool about this tool is you can connect it to your phone. There's an app, and you can connect it to your Stripe account, PayPal, your email service provider, you can probably have an integration with some of your platforms that you're using to sell your product. And what's really cool is when a customer, or even an email subscriber, if you want it to be an email subscriber, I couldn't possibly do this with email subscribers because there's so many that come in. But let's say, for example, you're selling a product. Every time a purchase is made, you'll get a notification on your phone, or you can just not have notifications and sign in every once in a while. You swipe over that notification and it opens up a video screen. And this video screen is something that you can just record and go, hey, Dylan, I saw that you just purchased Email Marketing Magic. You are awesome. I'm excited to have you in there. If you have any questions, you let me or my team know. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm thankful that you came in during this promotion. Best of luck to you. I'll see you inside and hope to see you in office hours as well. Bye. Literally 10 seconds. I hit send. Bonjoro sends it out. They get an email from Bonjoro. It says, hey, Pat Flynn sent you this message. And then you're like, wow, I just spent hundreds of dollars on this course, and now Pat Flynn sent me a personalized message and he mentioned me by name. Wow, crazy. And this thing works. In fact, it gets like a 90% reply rate from people who are just blown away, right? Which is really cool. They just recently opened up this Chrome extension where you can actually record a message and then grab an email, similar to like a Loom, but it's more a personalized message. So I recorded this last night, 9 hours ago, and it's been seen nearly 500 times already. I sent this to everybody who is coming to or has at least registered for my webinar. So this is what the video looks like. This is the landing page they land on.
Hey, it's Pat here. Thank you so much for watching this video really quick. I wanted to give you some insight about today's upcoming email marketing webinar and training. It's happening at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern today. We're going to have a full house. We have over 4,000 people registered, and there's only 1,000 seats available. This is a limitation due to the software that we're using that is here to make it fun and exciting when you're inside. However, if you can't get in, you can keep trying to get in, because as people leave early, people will open up.
Anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm encouraging people who did register to make sure to sign up. I'm also sharing a little bit of social proof that there's this many people interested and they're not going to be alone. And that's often something that's really important to share. Some sort of social proof that there's other people who are going to be there too, so that people go, oh, this I guess is a popular thing and I better be there. So cool. Romer says, back live showing the Bonjoro video, right? Yep, you are indeed. And hopefully my comment about your message can show you how live indeed this might be. I listened to this message and really appreciated it. Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. So it's not just to be of value to you, right, Sue? In fact, okay, this is going to be crowded. I don't want you to know why you might not be able to get in. But also, I'm also selling the webinar. I'm like, hey, this webinar is going to be great. You should come in. We got 4,000 people. Even if there wasn't 4,000 people, I think a message prior to the webinar is great. And so I'm using this tool, and it's really neat because I can just click a Chrome extension up here. That's an interesting screen freeze. There's a Chrome extension up here. I don't know if you could see where my cursor is in the upper right-hand corner. But this is, I can just hit a button, record, and then it gives me a link similar to Loom. And you can drop that link into an email. And so it's sent more on a mass scale. And you can choose different templates to have a different call to action. So let's say you send an email to people who watched your webinar. Hey guys, just wanted to send you a personal message, say thanks for watching the webinar. Get in the course, click the button below, or click the button to the side here, right? And this button is in fact something that you can change based on the template that you have, which is pretty cool. And that's pretty unique and not within something like Loom, where you can record a video, send a link, but that link is just to record the video. There's no call to action or anything sort of that you can put in and around that. So that's pretty cool. The old bandwagon sell. Don't miss what we're all going to do or doing. Yes, exactly.
Bruh.
Cool. Now, I'm going to share with you the inside of a course that we have. And this course is called Email Marketing Magic. I'll be talking about it a little bit this afternoon as well. And in fact, this thing I'm about to share with you is an open window inside what we have going on in the course. And like I said, this is in what's called the ABC Bank. The ABC Bank. In fact, if I go into the course here and I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll notice the ABC Bank autoresponders, broadcasts, campaigns. Let's do the product launch series 5-day. So this is what I want to share with you. This is when you're selling a product. If you want to do a 5-day sequence, here are the emails that you send. And here's what's in those emails and how they are determined. And again, this is for course students, but I wanted to open this up for you. I will be sharing this again in the webinar this afternoon. If you want to check that out, patflynn.com/webinar. You could register again. There's over 4,000 people. You should check it out and get in early if you can. But this is the 5-day product launch email campaign. Living Joyful and Well says, is this similar to Loom? It's kind of similar to Loom, except you can do a lot more. And just that little recording alone is the part that's similar to Loom. The power of Bonjoro is for you to get a notification when you get a new customer and send that direct customer, knowing their name, knowing what product they got, a message that says thanks to them personally. So that's not like Loom, and that's a very big deal. So you could check out Bonjoro from there. Anyway, 5-day. Karen, have fun with your client. Appreciate you. What's the web addy? The web addy? Of for the webinar is patflynn.com/webinar. Cool. Thanks to all the new members, by the way, Samson and Jamie and a few others who came in today. Membership is not required, but it is something that will unlock a few fun things and perks to you. Already been sharing a lot of messages in the community to just the members only. Would love to have you be a part of it. And as a reminder, all the money that comes in from members and super chats get donated at the end of the month to different charities that we support every single month. This month, we're donating to PolarisProject.org, helping fight human trafficking, which is a terrible problem and something that I want to bring awareness to. So PolarisProject.org, and thank you for all the super chats and the memberships and all this stuff. And hopefully you enjoy those emojis, which is pretty cool. Okay. So let me take you through this sequence. Here's the overview. You'll launch your product, right? Maybe there was a webinar before. Maybe it's just an email launch or what have you. You've hyped it up, whatever. Let's start at the launch moment. Your launch email goes out. What is it exactly? This is what we need to talk about in your launch email. This is a course. This is a coaching program where I'm going to be working with you for 8 weeks, and we're going to have a chat every single week to catch you up. I'm going to hold you accountable. What's in it for them, right? Who is this for is also an important thing to, let me zoom in on this for you just so we can all see this. Who is this for? What's in it for them? And a call to action, right? That's really important. In fact, here in Email Marketing Magic, check this out, launch email. Here, literally you could copy and paste this, and I give you some different examples using a wedding photography business that you can copy and paste and put for yourself if you were in the course. Again, I'm half mentioning this course here to get you excited about it in case you want to dive into that. But again, not required. That's not why I'm here. I'm just showing you the insides of this stuff. Thank you for that kind word, Janie. I appreciate you. So launch email. Yo, Shondo, welcome to Team Flynn Gold.
Bruh.
I need a new sound effect for when there's a new member. Maybe like a air horn. No, I think the air horns can get really crazy. Romer, welcome to Team Flynn Gold. I appreciate you. The bros are kind of cool, but yeah, if you have any, actually, I'm gonna crowdsource this with the members in the chat. But anyway, we'll figure that out later. So launch email. What's in it? What is it exactly? And if there are specific deadlines or certain bonuses that go along with it, those are mentioned in the launch email as well. Okay. Day 2, really important. We need to answer this question that people have on their mind. How do I know this is real? How do I know this is real? Like, is this a legit thing? You might have some really interested people, but even if you share the best thing possible, people need to know that people need to know that this thing is real. So your own experience and or highlighting members of your community, previous students, testimonials, these are really important. We need to help unlock this for people, because if they don't think this is real or it's just kind of too good to be true, guess what? It's something that they're not going to invest in. So we need to show proof. You can include statistics. Statistics show proof as well. Hey, it's proven that it's proven that email marketing is a major part of people's businesses. Statistics show that when you send emails during campaigns, you're 80% more likely to succeed with a successful launch. And whether you started an email list or not, I want to introduce you to Email Marketing Magic and why it's important. Here's how I've used some of these strategies. And in fact, here's how some of my people who are in the course have used these strategies too. Anka, welcome. Thank you so much for being a new member here. I appreciate you. Check out this story from, Jamie, who has a blog about this, and she implemented a lot of the strategies in Email Marketing Magic specifically. And you can get specific here too. Specifically, our autoresponder sequence, which allowed her to get 1 hour back every single week that she could use to sell more of her products and develop relationships with other people in her industry, right? So include a story of a member or somebody who you've helped, or maybe it's yourself, preferably a story of a hero story that you can highlight from somebody else, but preferably a story from somebody else. But if you have to, maybe it's your own emotional story that relates to this solution and why this is important to you. Again, day 2, we need to show that this is real. This is the emotional sort of selling that we're doing. Day 1, or the launch email, is essentially the logical thing. Hey, it's logical that you need an email list. Well, I have the thing for you to help you do that. That's the logical people who are going to buy or get excited about that. Day 2 are the emotional buyers, and a lot of people buy through emotion, right? Carrie says, sound effect, woohoo, woo. Maybe a deep one, woohoo. That'd be really funny. Okay, day 3. This is a really important email. And something that sometimes I'll just subscribe to somebody's campaign because I want to see how they sell, right? I'm always learning from other people. And this is oh, I know a sound. It's like those little kids that are going like, yay. And it's like, that sounded very sarcastic. Yay, you subscribed as a member. Good job. We don't want that. I have some ideas. Anyway, day 3, use this email to call them out on their objections. Legit, that's all you have to do. So let me talk about day 3. This is a really important email. The day 3 email. People by this point have not purchased, obviously. If they did, then you don't send them the rest of these emails. Please don't continue to sell to people who have already bought. I'm actually, this is something I teach my kids. It's like, if you've sold somebody on something, like, stop. All right, now provide the value, right? Sometimes my kids will ask me for something like, maybe, I don't know, to spend some time playing video games or whatever, and they make a good argument for it. They did all their chores, all the things, and then I'm like, sure, you can play, and then they keep going, like, but and I think I want to do this, and I'll make sure to do, and I'm like, you've already sold me, like, you're unselling me right now by you continuing to talk about this, like, go. So there you go. Slow clap. Yeah. Welcome to the tribe. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Cool. So day 3, call them out on their objections. What do I mean by that? Well, okay. Let's talk about this really quick. So day 3, up there. If I'm selling my podcasting course, I might say in an email, for example, so I know that perhaps you've never been behind the microphone before, and it's a little scary to you, but it's okay, because in the second module, there's a complete lesson for those of you who are specifically just starting out, who are a little bit nervous about getting behind the mic. Susan, welcome to Team Flynn Gold. Maybe you are afraid that you're going to do this and nobody's going to listen. Well, don't worry, because the whole second half of the course is specifically built to help you get people to find you. And in fact, that's going to happen even on day 1 of your show. Perhaps you are worried about perhaps you just have no clue on how many episodes you should create and how often and what those episodes should be about. Well, don't worry, because I got your back, because in lesson 3, you will see exactly a unique content strategy that I come up with, so you will never run out of content, right? When I sell my email marketing course, I say things like, maybe you're worried about upsetting your subscribers. Well, don't worry, because I got your back. In one of my lessons, I teach you how to sell and serve at the same time so that you can actually get thanked for sending these emails. So Michael says, I'm already sold, shut up. So this objection email is really, really key. If you do not know the objections that your target audience has, guess what? They're going to make up those objections in their head, and they're going to make up a story to convince themselves not to purchase, right? So if you can actually be the one that go, hey, I know what you're thinking, but let me tell you why that's incorrect. Like, literally. Maybe you've never. So if one final one. Hey, I know you might be thinking about getting into Email Marketing Magic, which is my course about email marketing, and maybe you're just afraid that maybe you just aren't a marketer and you're afraid of selling, or you're afraid of saying the wrong things. Well, don't worry, because I literally have templates that you can choose from and copy and paste and put into your own stuff. So even if you're not a copywriter, you can still make this happen, right? So objection, rebuttal. Objection, rebuttal, objection, rebuttal, objection, rebuttal, right? Tackle those worries head on. Day 4, why they need to act now. Here's the truth. If you don't give people a reason to make a decision now, they will not make a decision. Our job as people who are marketers is to help people get to a decision-making point one way or another. I would much rather have people go, all right, well, this is not for me, and I know that, and I'll try it out next time. Or, yes, this is for me, let's get it now. Versus, yeah, I mean, I think this would work, but I mean, I'll wait a little bit longer. I'll check it out next week. And every time somebody goes, yeah, I'll make sure to buy, next week on Monday, you haven't done your job. You want people to go, all right, I need to get into this right now, right? So that's what the day 4 email is. why they need to act now. And this is why it's day 4, because they haven't acted yet, right? So there could be a number of different ways to inject scarcity or some sort of fashion of, urgency in there. You got to be careful with urgency. It's a very powerful tool, but it can also be misused and often abused and could potentially not make you look so great. And what I mean by that is if you say, for example, hey guys, you can get my course. There's only 1,000 spots available in my online course. You got to get in now before it's gone. We already have 999 people in there, and you have to act now. Obviously, that's very aggressive and very usually untrue. And also, people are going to go, well, it's an online course. How do you limit it? Why would you limit it? There are actually, in fact, ways that you can have a limitation to an online course. You could say, I'm going to cap it at a certain amount, or I'm closing it up and I'm not letting people in for a while because I'm going to be working with the students in there hand in hand, making sure that they succeed in this process. So now I'm also flipping the script and sharing that as a benefit. Get it now because I'm not going to be letting other people in, or there is a limit because I'm going to be working more closely with you in there once you're in, right? So that's really important. Cool. Amplify the problem. Again, be careful with that as well. That's within here. This is within Ray Edwards' Pastor model: problem, amplification, solution, those kinds of things. That's the Pastor model for copywriting. The A in Pastor is amplify. What's the problem? Hey, email marketing has always been a thing, but now people are finally opening up to the fact that email is the way to get around those walled gardens of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, etc. So it's really important that we dive into perfect email marketing strategies now, or else guess what? Your competitors are going to be the ones whose emails are opened. You're not going to get as much, and the sooner that you start building these relationships with your subscribers, the more likely it is that they're going to continue to open your emails over time. And every single email that you write from this point forward should be with the lessons in this course behind it. So this is a way to sort of, it's not a scare tactic. It's not fear. Obviously, please do not use the fear mongering to make sales. I mean, you have to do something to get people to convince them to buy. That's your obligation, having a product that can actually solve their problem. Now, if you didn't have a good product, then what are you doing? So baseline, you have to have a product that you know can help people, or at least you're beta testing it and you're upfront with that. But it's your obligation to use these tactics. But you can also fall into traps without even knowing it. I've seen some people, I've gotten some Instagram ads, and I'm guessing they were taken down because I was looking for them as examples later. But they were ads that were like, COVID, like you might end up homeless because of COVID-19, take action. And it's like, what? Are you serious? That's just wrong. Cool. Bernard said, Bernard's talking about like those countdown timers, which start at like 58 minutes and 10 seconds, and then you refresh the page and it's like 58 minutes and 10 seconds again. And it's just like, that's kind of, people are smart. Like, don't do that. I think that countdown timers work really well. I use a countdown timer in all of our campaigns because it's just another sense of urgency, and the countdown timer is actually true. And it's using a tool called Deadline Funnel to do that. Whether it's a live campaign for everybody or an individual campaign for an individual. The right space, yo. Bruh. Thank you. Welcome to Team Flynn Platinum. I appreciate you. All right, now let's go to day 5. The final day of this email launch campaign. Yes, 3 emails on the final day. What? Yes, 3 emails. Trust me. 60%, 55 to 60% of our sales come on the last day. And I have a lot of students who've run through this process and they get a little discouraged because midway through, you are not getting as many sales. You're going to get some people who get in up front, the launch email, and day 2, they're going to buy. Day 3 and 4, less people buy, but you're still sending them relevant messages leading up to day 5. And yes, 3 emails might seem like a lot, but trust me, it works. They're not going to be long emails, by the way. Day 5 in the morning, last chance. This is the last day to purchase. Remember, you get these bonuses. Price goes up tomorrow or after midnight. You can also share, one thing that I recommend is if you have students who have gotten in early and they're already getting results by day 5, right? They got in on day 1, they're taking action. Maybe you reached out to them to see how they're doing, or they sent you messages saying they're blown away. Include one of those messages in the day 5 morning email.
hey, Tanya, who got in on day 1, is already getting results. Check this out. She came in during this campaign and is already getting results. Here's what she has to say. So using testimonials from people who've already purchased can be really cool to go, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I guess this actually works. Then the email number 2 is, which sent midday, is where the subject line is, I recorded this just for you. How can you not open an email where the subject line is that? That's very similar to the one that I sent leading up to the webinar for today. It just gets a really, really good open rate, right? So what's in that email? Let me, in fact, scroll down so you could see the copy in that email. So day 5, day 4, day 5. So that is here. Oh, actually, I can show you a sample video. We have time. Oh, here it is. Literally a very short email. Subject line, I recorded this video just for you. And here's some code for ConvertKit if you use ConvertKit to put their name in there. This code, essentially, don't worry about it. It's just like, hi, if name, hi name. If no name, just hiya. I was just thinking about you, and I recorded this quick 2-minute video because I had something to share with you. Click here to watch the video. Please do not share it. I left it unlisted. Thanks again. This is essentially just to a video that is hosted on YouTube, and I'll play this video for you, in fact. This was an example of one of those videos.
Hey, it's Pat here.
So raw, I'm on my phone, I'm walking around, not professionally produced. Look, see how many views this has? 851 views. And this is unlisted. It shows people that this is semi-private. I don't mention people's names because it's not an individual video, but I did record it for them. Who is this for? These are for the people who are on the fence, the people who they're still here seeing these campaign emails. They are thinking about purchasing. This is a heartfelt message from you to them. Don't script it out. Just legit be honest from you to them. I know you're thinking about purchasing this. Here's who it's for. I hope you get in. So I'm going to play this video for you.
Hey, it's Pat here. I just wanted to film this video for you today. It is July 1st, which is pretty incredible. I can't believe we're already 7 months into the year now. I'm in Idaho right now. You might see behind me there's this place called Jump over there, which is where the Craft and Commerce convention is. I did the opening keynote yesterday. I had a workshop this morning, and I was thinking about you.
So very personal. I'm like in real time. Don't record this like once and use it again and again and again. Like legit record it during the campaign because you're going to be more honest and have more empathy with those people. Well, anyway, just let me keep going.
Because I know you're making a decision whether or not to get into power up podcasting or not. And I just wanted to talk to you and be real with you. You know, podcasting has been the #1 thing that has grown my business and my influence online. It's what's led to opportunities like this. And it's become my mission to help people like you start your podcast, but not just start it, learn how to grow it and market it and really truly have it become a part of your business. Because it is something that allows you to connect with your audience in a way that is just, I can't even explain it. It happens because of just the nature of how people are consuming podcasts and your voice and your message. Now, if you're just starting out from scratch and you don't have an audience, guess what? Podcasting is a great way to start to build that audience. There's far less podcasts than there are YouTube channels or blogs. There's less than 1 million active podcasts and over 500 million active YouTube channels, millions and millions more blogs. And this is a great opportunity.
Okay, I'm actually not gonna play the whole thing for you. It's 2 minutes. I would say 90 seconds is preferable. 90 seconds or less. Again, just a heartfelt message from you to that person, unlisted on YouTube, link to it in the email. Because you've had contact with them beforehand, it's not gonna seem like a phishing email because they know who it's coming from. It's when you don't know who it's coming from that people start to get worried. But you've built trust along the way here, and this is gonna be open. This email has the highest open rate out of all the emails in the campaigns that we do. It also has a very high conversion rate as well. People appreciate you spending a little bit more time. People notice that, and it doesn't take a lot of work. I would wish that I had a gimbal. I saw somebody mention that and laugh about that, but it was very shaky as I was walking around. That was before the iPhone had its own stabilizer. By the way, iPhones now and other Android phones, Samsung, of course, have stabilizers in them now. Anyway, that works really well. That's midday. And because it's just not an email, it's a video, it's not perceived as, oh, stop sending me these messages. It's like, wow, you really do believe in this and think it's something for me. If you have a guarantee, this is a good time to mention it as well. And then finally, going into the 5-day sequence, the third email that gets sent is literally just
the shortest email that you can imagine, right? So here's the sample copy I use here in Email Marketing Magic. Final chance, wedding photography business blueprint closes soon. This is the last email I'm going to send about this at 9 p.m. Pacific. Wedding photography business blueprint will no longer be available, and the special exclusive bonuses will go away too. Jump in while you can. I'll see you in there. Looking forward to serving you and the other students. Click here to join. That's it. So those are the 3 emails. That last email is the highest converting email. Like, it is crazy how many people wait till the last minute every single time. And if you didn't send these emails out, you wouldn't get that. So there you go. That's a 3-day sequence. One more time, in case you want to take a screenshot of this. Let me go here. Where did it go? Yeah, here we go. If you want to take a screenshot of that, you can. Let me move me really quick for you. Cool. So this is the 5-day product launch email campaign, and I hope that was helpful. I'll be diving deeper into this and some other strategies and whatnot in today's webinar, patflynn.com/webinar, which happens in 2 hours. So keep that in mind, and hopefully this was helpful for you. So chat, what was the most useful or most eye-opening thing here for you today? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to read a few of these out. Welcome to all the new members as well. And tomorrow, guess what? It's Friday. And because it's Friday, we're going to spin the wheel. We're going to play some games. We're going to have some fun. Just keep it casual. I still will answer some questions during that time as well. And, we've had a great week talking about email marketing. Let's cap it off with this webinar. Should you choose to come, please come in early, because legit, there are over 4,500 people registered at this point, which is pretty insane. So it will be full, I promise you. Why do you think that is, Pat, the last second people? Because they have now a reason to make a purchase. Because if they don't purchase, it's going away. FOMO, my friends, is a real thing. It's exactly why I wait till the very end to make a purchase sometimes, because I want to give myself as many options as possible. It's just human nature to not want to make decisions before you have to make decisions. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of effort and brain power to do something like that. I love what you just said, Pat Flynn. If you didn't send that last email, you wouldn't get all those sales. Exactly. Woo! Most useful, knowing the wealth of knowledge awaiting me in the email course. Awesome, Grandma Goody. Thank you for that. Cool. Not a superhero. I'm just a regular person trying to help. I noticed that in the Peasant Uprising just shared the emoji I was about to talk about, the story time emoji. I cannot see where it says story time. I don't know. Can you see the word story time in there? I have the dark mode, so maybe that's why I can't see it. So anyway, JOOO, joy of opting out for sure. I find a better deal before making a decision, LOL. Figuring out what my email list needs from me. What do they want? Cool. Register for the webinar. Romer, awesome. Phenomenal, says Badass Buddha. Awesome. Most useful, to copy the response email in the entire launch 5-day sequence. So good. Thanks, Pat Flynn. I will use this today after the webinar. Awesome. What's the new emoji idea I want to see? Excellent video today. So much value. Can't beat this. And hey, this is for free. And even if you've never paid a super chat, even if you're not a member, I'm here for you. Members, I'll chat with you later in the community post. And I have another emoji to share with you that's relevant for tomorrow as well. Any guesses? Maybe. Anyway, tomorrow, Friday Fun Day. Thanks for coming in. And I'm looking at the wrong camera, I just realized. So I appreciate you for coming in. Hopefully this was helpful, and advanced email marketing tactics for the win. Team Flynn, tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, right here, patflynn.com/theincomestream. Maybe I'll see some of you this afternoon on the webinar, and take care. Appreciate you. Let's take action. Thanks so much. Welcome to all the brand new members, Gold and Platinum. Appreciate you, and Team Flynn for the win.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
You're amazing. Keep going, y'all. We have an endless amount of work. Figure out what your top priorities are and work on that. That's my advice to you today. I'm going to be prepping for this webinar coming up. Cheers, take care. Peace out.
Bruh.